I'm just trying to think of where Tyrael comes in that composition outside of just dealing with, because the Lightning Breath salvo in the Towers game, they got several kills.
Yeah.
The Sanctification, obviously, in the bunker can deal with those in the same fashion of just like, all right, well, we'll go through this. The Malfurion was taken away, which the Tranquility can help keep you alive during those. But I don't know if Tyrael is the answer as the solo tank in that situation. Blaze can only do so much. Blaze has slows, Tyrael has slows, and Blaze has one stun. And as a Diablo, you can just live in that in the team fight environment, and he did that. But no tomorrow, the fact that they capitalized, they made all of their rotations, the proper rotations, they didn't concede. That last team fight, when you're that far ahead on Sky Temple, you can walk away from that. You have the boss pushing, you go get Temple, you're up. You have 2 keeps down. There's only 1 keep remaining. You have 20 tier advantage. There's no way for a boss to be cheesed at that point. And you still had all 3 forts standing. You could have played patient, but they said, we're just going to hit the hammer on the nail, hit the nail with the hammer, something like that. And then they won the game to the team fight. They didn't have to, but they chose to.
Well, their hammer was conspicuously absent that game because of the ban, but nevertheless, these third bans really have been changing things up in our meta, and for this series, maybe something to keep in mind for LFM. They've been banning a lot of URL, but perhaps it's time to think of something else like the Phoenix or the Diablo. We got to talk to a lot of our players about the third ban and its impact on the meta. Let's take a look.
As a mage player, I think the 3 bans are pretty good for me. The fact that Tracer and Genji are out of the game most of the time because they're really good heroes makes me more able to pick like no mobility hero like Gul'dan, Jaina for example, and be really free in games, so I really like it.
But I think what's more like impactful in the drafts is the timer reduction. It used to be 60 seconds and now it's reduced to 25, which is mind-blowing. It is insane when you're sitting there in only 25 seconds. It's a whole new world, so you gotta be really like quick. You gotta think ahead and you gotta be ready like to play. It makes for a whole new dynamic, and I think that's more impactful than the actual third ban itself, which mostly just takes out, you know, the annoying things like Abathur or Tracer.
I think triple bans is going to change a lot about drafting actually, because I feel like both for the meta, you know, there's 4 or 5 heroes that are always in the first pick or first rotation slot, and once 2 more of those heroes are removed, I think it's gonna make things a lot more interesting. But also, like in North America specifically, I think a lot of teams and a lot of players have mid-range hero pools that can be targeted once there's 6 bans in the game, so it'll be really interesting.
The addition of the new ban is kind of a big game changer, because now we can see a couple of things that happen. We could see target bans on people, target bans on map only to get the special pick of the map, and then that could change a lot of how people approach the meta. So I think like sometimes even the perma bans of before could come out, like Genji, you could see that coming out thanks to the fact that people just want to focus on one thing now. So the flexibility is going to be really interesting.
The third ban has been changing things up in a big way here at HGC, and I cannot wait to see what it does to the meta once teams have had more time to practice for the Western Clash.
There's so much to consider. The changes that we'll see going in. Artanis clearly S tier now. Everybody's going to be playing him. You go into a game now and Artanis is in every game. Probably won't be at HGC, but I'm sure somebody will give it the old try. But it's fun to see Artanis, the changes that came in. Those will be in effect for Western Clash, so the live patch that you are playing on at home right now will be in effect in 2 weeks. Right now, we're still on the previous balance patch, so we'll see some changes to Raynor and things of that nature. Looking forward to it.
I am too. It's going to be in a couple of weekends. I think the dates are August 10th through 12th. It's going to be a good time. There's still tickets available too if you want to pick those up. playheroes.com/esports/tickets. But we're in the middle of an epic match between No Tomorrow and LFM Esports, and we're headed to Game 4 on Volskaya Foundry, chosen by No Tomorrow. LFM losing on Sky Temple, wants to have first pick. The first time they'll have first pick in this entire series.
Curious what their first pick will be, because Phoenix has been very, very prominent for No Tomorrow. But if Diablo doesn't make it through, are you willing to commit to a Thrall in your 2-3 picks?
Here's what I think is going to happen. LFM has banned URL every single game. I think they're going to leave URL up. They'll try to first pick that. And then I think they'll probably ban Diablo. It's does No Tomorrow take Muradin away, or is Jin more favored to something like Garrosh, which is he has played quite a few times, or at least a couple of times, on Volskaya Foundry. Johanna is possible too, but I for LFM's sake, they need something with a little more engagement power.
You'll have to forgive me because the entire time I looked over at you,
Probius.
this discussion. No. There was an Asmodan. In fact, Asmodan got buffed after his rework. And that will be live. And if there was a team that has played Specialist on Volskaya, although a different drafter now, just think of the potential.
Well, there's no potential for a hammer here. There's No Tomorrow bans her out. LFM takes away Diablo. Genji's still up as a possible ban. Tracer's been let through every game. If they don't want to first pick Ural, we might see the Ural ban here still. But Swabs plays a great Ural, so they'll take Genji off the table. And Raynor.
That sustained damage from Raynor, it takes away. So you commit to the Phoenix here, or you risk giving it away. And both of them with the slowing control that they have, No Tomorrow would gladly take a Phoenix if you don't want to, and then pair it with something else, but the Muradin obviously comes into mind.
Yeah, Muradin does, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's Muradin, but with Ural still up, and how much LFM has been banning Ural, I think they want to... The Diablo isn't there to set up the salvo is... I can agree with LFM that they're okay with giving away Phoenix, but Phoenix Diablo, that was too much, way too much to deal with.
Phoenix Muradin seems likely, but Akaface has been on the Malfurion train, but we'll get Blaze to pair with that. Oil does give you slows.
It does. It's not as potent as that heroic ability of Lightning Breath, but they'll take what they can get, and having Blaze gives a lot more staying power for No Tomorrow. Self-sustain of Blaze is going to be fantastic too, and they ensure that LFM can't get a jump on all the solos. LFM get Tranquility back for that salvo.
They've got some jumps.
It's the Muradin Ural Hammer squad. LFM is... I think they're pretty happy with what they have so far in this draft.
LFM, when it comes to their draft, they have to consider banning out the Thrall. We know that Thrall does well in a triple melee situation, and Earthquake does pair well with Phoenix. For No Tomorrow, they will take away the Hanzo, which has been very standout so far for Droplets.
Yeah, that's the only role that they can limit now is the ranged assassin, and it does feel like every person of LFM has 1 to 2 heroes that are a cut above the rest, and removing whatever those that they possibly can after also taking away just objectively strong things on the map, like the hammer. LFM's going to do the same now, taking away Jin's Diablo and now the Johanna.
It does two things. It takes away the frontline control with Johanna that does do well on this battleground, but Johanna could also spec into Subdue for more slow capabilities. So you take that element out.
But it leaves Thrall up.
It leaves Thrall up, but warrior-wise.
It also leaves Jaina.
Ah, man.
Garrosh?
I was going to say Stitches.
Yeah.
Then Deckard.
Okay. Deckard Cain is so good on this map. Because of his sustain, point control.
If I recall correctly...
Ooh, Salvo with the Bile, too, is another way of setting that up.
That is true. But if I recall correctly, we have seen some Medivh in the past from, I believe, Jay Shrite.
Okay. Shrite plays like everything, so...
Ooh, this got to be a task. Yeah,
yes.
There's no way you go the Vala without the task.
Neat.
Neat.
I'm a fan. I'm liking this. Is a Medivh.
because now Jaina, who you mentioned, does give the slowed, but if we just take away the strength on this, we've seen Jaina, we've seen Tassadar switch over to armor at level 4 instead of the lifesteal to deal with some of that burst, but we will get the Thrall.
A lot of follow-up CC. Any which way you have it, someone's there to follow up for a hook from Jen. More self-sustain on the point. People to cycle around on that point, specifically the Blaze and Stitches, but Thrall trying to go in too, and the synergies with Thrall to go along with Phoenix will be nice there too. Well-rounded draft for No Tomorrow. Pretty melee heavy, but Stitches can stay back and try to draw someone in with a hook, but the double supporting of LFM will be in the self-escapes that they have. They'll be hoping that that's going to be enough to get away from that.
We've seen block picked up by Muradin in the past. I think we're going to need more damage. Tassadar, late game, the damage is there. Archon definitely helps post 10, very helpful post 20. But Vala, against the amount of self-sustain, Stitches has his E button, Thrall has his through his trait, Blaze self-heal, Phoenix, he has a shield, and then Deckard passing out potions like they're candy. One damage dealer will not be enough in the form of Vala. Tassadar, obviously a very late game hero. I think Muradin's going to have to be stacking. It does stack well against heroes that have no mobility outside of natural walking or waddling, as Stitches likes to do.
Yeah, it's quite the hitbox on that one. Should be pretty easy for him to get those. I want to know, who are all hopes based on? Of course, Figgy will be there to offer up his Psy Storms, his shields, but for Droplets to come in, be the new person from Open Division, to be offered to spawn an HGC team, and now in this final series to be the hyper carry Vala for LFM, it's pretty cool to see.
Well, we did get stacked. There was some contemplation by Fury. Does go into the stacking talent. I think it's going to be very much needed. But when you go all in, as you said, for Droplets on that Vala, there is a lot of weight on your shoulders, because it's go in, I will shield you, I will heal you, but you do all the damage, because that is 100% necessary, as Fury barely escapes the clutches of death.
Well, as we've seen with the return of Hyper Carry Vala, a focus in having Hot Pursuit. This also has the benefit of when fully stacked with Hatred, she'll have additional movement speed, and for that, Vala can function as another possible, you don't want to say target for a hook, nobody wants to be hooked, but if you have the Vol afterwards, it just becomes a matter of having the movement speed to try to avoid that as much as possible. And then if you do get hooked in, then you have that movement speed, you also have the vault, and you can make it so that someone like the Aware, who's on that Malfurion, also has Nature Swiftness, but either way, just having some movement speed to try to avoid Jin's hooks at all costs.
That is an excellent point. It's one of the things that we see favor the most. There's a big reason why mobility, even in the form of movement speed, is so favored in competitive. So both teams grabbing their respective turret camps at almost identical times. I am curious, when we see, there's two members right now for No Tomorrow in the bot lane. That is a chance that if LFM wanted to grab that healing pulse, they have a numbers advantage, but now No Tomorrow, they're bringing up everybody, because this is a very important contention point.
Root hits, Fury hooked. It's Fury, he's Muradin, he has Dwarf Toss. The team was expecting that though, No Tomorrow. Set up with crowd control to follow him up. He's still fine. Now the rest have come up from LFM too for a good old-fashioned brawl. Level 4 here for LFM, not quite for No Tomorrow. That gives the armor from Swabs, knocking in a couple of No Tomorrow into the point further. Swab's fairly healthy, or wants to jump back in for the fight too.
Well, that's done.
Stormbolt, beautifully done by LFM.
We saw the Arsenal synergy come out in return by Shrite, chunked out a large portion of damage from Droplets. Else I think LFM would have been more aggressive there after that first kill, but nice fight back by LFM.
Yeah, having both Kala's Light and Aegis of Light is going to be a ton of cross-supporting between those pseudo supports, having Urel and Tassadar there to help out with Malfurion and any burst that comes after the crowd control of Thrall Blaze. Even Deckard Kane. What do you think about this Frostwolf pack? Not something that we often see, but has been picked up here and there.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw the icon, you know, it springs up, I think, more on Volskaya. Easier to land this, more chances to find the target. It's Fury, he's the focus right now. Swabs comes in, lends one of those hammers, and there's the shielding from Tassadar and the potions to prevent any more damage.
No Tomorrow's keeping Thrall in the top with the assault camp. Eventually, someone will have to cycle up from LFM, and No Tomorrow is hoping to bank on that. LFM for now, though, are keeping people on the point, seeing if they can get the initial channel. They force back No Tomorrow in a big way. Concerted effort here. Tassadar is not here for the party, though. He had headed up, but LFM gets control of the point with that positional forcing back of No Tomorrow. Hook hits, dimensional shift, gets Figgy out of danger.
Well, now, with the camp being top, nobody's responded to that yet. LFM, I was surprised they were as aggressive as they were, because they had a significant experience advantage. Had they gone mid or top and responded in kind, they would have been at 7 far quicker and then could have come back to force the advantage with a talent tier. Instead, they'll have to respond to the top, and in this moment, you have to concede. Fury will look to hold control because he is on Muradin.
Yeah, they'll hold on to it until
they'll
it's
be forced.
realized. Nobody's forced them off of this, so it's still climbing. Both the teams, No Tomorrow went back to get their turret, but still the camp finally dealt with in the top, and the turrets are there. LFM's been able to hold on to this. No Tomorrow not getting them off of this point is... It's going to make them have to fight for everything here. Even if LFM wanted to leave, tap, come back, they could with how much of a lead they have. Those roots.
Forcing them off point would have been such a helpful thing, because now if you walk off that point and you don't have a member on it for several seconds, and Shrite forced off in the way of damage and almost death, Swab's going forward, Casanova comes in, and this will do it. Tomster will get sniped with the multi-shot. Droplets goes forwards, hits, confirms another kill. There's going to be the shield, I believe, coming out from the protector itself, maybe Tassadar. But the damage is coming out fast and furious, and the indecision of No Tomorrow is haunting them.
Yeah, the LFM were able to get the initial start on that. They dealt with a camp, which No Tomorrow tried to set themselves up once they got to 7 because they were behind, having the camp advantage. And LFM picked up the turret. All of that at once. Unlikely to happen, but they get that, they get the protector, and they have a level lead now as they're working on bringing down more front walls. Jay Shrita chasing down Droplets. Swabs is there, Droplets running, jet propulsion doesn't hit, but it puts Tomster in a place to body block. He gets the kill, taking out Vala.
At what cost, though, I think is the main thing, because we're looking at a full level lead. If he turns around and auto-attacks that minion, he saves himself about 10% health. That is a mismanagement of that protector. If you turn around and just one-shot that minion, the fort's hurt. You save yourself. You probably take that fort if you just kill that minion. I'm not even kidding. Like that is a mismanagement, but LFM has done themselves a favor and established an early game lead here over No Tomorrow.
Now that fort's halfway down, they have 10. They don't have the camp or anything to push along with in this top lane, but they will use the time that they have 10 ahead of No Tomorrow to get the heal camp, the heal pulse here, to help them out with the next fight. No Tomorrow just now has 10. Jin was setting up. Makes me wonder if this is going to be a Gorge. You have her Earthquake to give the extra damage for Purification Salvo. Could Gorge stay a while and listen as the team comes in to defend? Stay a while and listen was chosen.
I think Gorge has to be the choice.
Bile.
Excuse me, Bile has to be the choice, yeah.
I would have thought it would be Bile too.
It gives you mobility in ways that you don't get it. You get the hook onto Swabs, just missing out on Droplets there. The fight will rage on here in the middle for LFM. They need to just walk away. Giroux goes down. They'll have the 13 talent tier advantage. We'll see how far No Tomorrow is behind, or how much LFM has to do to get there. So it will be close.
LFM's clearing out the assault camp while they get their own, so this will be pushing better for them. was just being very patient, which we have seen from LFM throughout the series in a way that it almost feels like LFM is viewing themselves as the stronger team. You know, does that make sense? Like they're disciplined, which is great to see from them.
I'm with you on that one. Fury holds point for now. Healing static, he can stay in there. Without 13, he has to walk away. The threat comes in, does have 12 stacks on his level 1, 18 on his baseline because 2 of those did help confirm kills, so you get those extra stacks on that. But now with this camp, see if they're willing to push in all the way onto that fort. But with 13 so close, droplets, the pathing here, super dangerous. They are lucky that Hook didn't land, and the salvo interrupted, else droplets is dead instead. LFM turning this fight.
Oof. And in the back line, you're out. Rex, Deckard, Kane, droplets fine, healed up by so many different ways, including the heal pulls. Jay Shrita doing what damage he can, comes in with a salvo, guns down 2. Turning this around for a double kill before he goes down. A 4 for 2, 5 for 2 team wipe by LFM. Only happens with them saving droplets there. And part of that was droplets. He saw the scroll of ceiling start, knew he had to avoid that, used the movement speed of the hot pursuit to get away from that, moved back forward, stood his ground, had tranquility healing up. They have the Tassadar shielding, the armor from that level 4, the armor from Uriel level 4. All done in a way to keep droplets alive. Also the heads up Rain of Vengeance right away to give him those crucial little bits of time to make it out of there. Even still though, that was a crazy fight.
Went back and forth. The fact that I didn't know if it was a turret that got hit. Something was in the way that the Hook just barely missed onto droplets. Could have gone either way had droplets gone down at the beginning of that. 13 and a turret picked up. No Tomorrow will find their way onto the point, forcing overtime potentially, but they will make it here on time. Now the standoff, similar to our first control point, will happen here as Swabs gets the knockback. His 99% was indeed picked up by LFM.
No Tomorrow gets on the point. Has some damage reduction in the form of suppressive fire, spell power reduction, which is always nice to have versus a solo DPS hero. Casanova gets low, has the Earthquake though, starting that self-healing, setting up Jay Shrita for the salvo. Stay a while and listen. Deckard Kane, 1, 2, 3, killed in the blink of an eye by LFM, who stand strong. Swab still chasing down the remnants of No Tomorrow, using the Divine Steed up to catch up to No Tomorrow's Tomster. But behind this is another Triglav Protector, and they're bringing this down to get maximum structural damage done.
There's a lot you put into protecting the Vala, but at 13, Vala does a fair amount of protecting for herself, picking up that Gloom. I think it showed itself there because you do get the passive 20 spell armor, but then consuming your Hatred, granting 3 spell armor per Hatred consumed for 5 seconds. I'm willing to bet that was a full stack there because I was watching his health bar and he just stood there and he's like, I'm totally fine here.
And that's how you should be feeling with this kind of hyper carry style of composition. That you feel that good means A, you have full trust in your teammates to keep you alive and do their jobs, so that B, you dish out the damage. And those quick kills in rapid succession showed the power of this kind. Now that's gonna be droplets getting hit, and when you get hooked and have the follow-up crowd control and damage that style, that's what No Tomorrow needs to do, is bring down Vala, because a lot stops for LFM the moment she falls.
Swabs just saved the aware there. No Ardent Defender for 7 seconds. This is one you gotta let go. Justified, they do lose 2 members. Gives back some experience to No Tomorrow. Credit the hook out by Jen to bring in Vala. This will give them control over the camps as well.
It's been a few times now the droplets has been hit by that, and though movement speed is there, and no, sometimes you can use this almost as a bait to start the fight, get everyone into position. When it's Vala and there's that much follow-up CC, probably not what you want to have happen.
Fury continuing to stack up 20 on his level 1. Did finish that baseline, so he does have to pierce. There's a hook. Biggie will have that dimensional shift.
Chasing
Nice
down.
body blocking by Fury to make sure that there was no chase there, and the roots as well.
Extremely well done there, making the best of a bad situation as these hooks continue to find results for No Tomorrow. And Jin, Alpha Wolf now. Frostwolf pack was finished, having the mana cost and the cooldown of Feral Spirit. Now add to that Alpha Wolf, increases the duration of the root, just having more of the lockdown, and that lockdown's going to be needed here because this is a full-on brawl, and No Tomorrow getting Goomba stopped to the ground by Swabs. LFM, that's the kind of fight you want to take where everyone just stands together in that double supporting style, even versus things like Earthquake, Putrid Bile. They're successful, though the salvo not being able to go off there may have been part of the problem there, but with this cross-supporting, LFM is back in the lead of this game.
LFM is starting to dominate as this game has gone on more and more. They've controlled every team fight. The damage that's being dished out in such a short period of time is insane. Tassadar obviously very much stacked, has been for some time in choke points. Those Psy Storms will do a tremendous amount of damage. Muradin, he's wrecking people, and then Vala bringing the pain. And every time you get into these choke points, you think bunker is enough, salvo is enough, but the interrupt, as you said, is there, and there's so much damage